If this is true, then our country is in a lot of trouble.
We would have these trips, these special trips.
But he said my daddy takes the bodies to the grocery store and he grinds them up and puts it in the hamburger. And nobody ever knows it.
How can kids 6, 8, 10 years old be describing rituals that come from a book like the Book of the Dead? It's hard to get your mind around people being capable of this kind of evil.
This is Dan Bidondi of TruthRadioShow.com. I am honored to offer my listeners a 1-month free subscription to NYSTV.org. Subscribers will have access to thousands of NYC TV videos from spiritual warfare to biblical and occultic topics, banned from YouTube videos, and much more. Subscribe today on NYSTV.org and use the promo code DANTheMan and receive your first month free. If you're receiving this transmission, you are the resistance, declaring war on the New World Order. TruthRadioShow.com. And welcome everybody to the Monday, October 3rd, 2022 edition of the Nightly News with Dan Bidondi right here on TruthRadioShow.com. So what's going on, everybody? I apologize for starting an hour late tonight. So just had some things I had to do and everything else. So we got a lot to talk about. Will the Nord pipeline explosions, that's the gas lines in Russia that were exploded. So people think, it's either Russia or Ukraine or the United States. Everybody's pointing a finger at each other. But will this be the event that leads to war? Nuclear war at that. So, and we're going to talk about other news and everything else. Gun news, of course, at the end of the weekend. Chicago, the great gun control city of Chicago, leading the nation again with gun deaths. Crazy, huh? So, people seeing angel numbers. This is actually hitting mainstream media. This is this new age garbage that's going around that angels communicate with people with numbers and all that. No, they don't. Okay, we're going to get to that at the end of the show. But we got so much news to talk about and more. So, man, it just baffles me that people, that claim to know the Bible, claim to be Christians, believe in this stuff. You know what I mean? And angels don't communicate with numbers. God's angels don't anyway. So we'll save that to the end of the show. But I want to thank ShakeAwakeRadio.com and BeforeIt'sNews.com for carrying the show. And also, guys, if you missed Spiritual Warfare Friday, we had an awesome show Friday. We had a watch party, and we added some more information, of course. Black Eyed People, Windows to the Demonic Abyss. That was last Friday with me and Brian Reese on Spiritual Warfare Friday. And coming up this week, we got a awesome show for you. We got what's his name, David Bennett. David Bennett, known as Jesus Freak. He's also known as Computer Geek and everything else. He's a former NASA engineer. He's coming on the show, and wait till you hear the stuff he's going to tell you. He used to work for NASA for years as an engineer, and yes, this goes into the flat earth stuff and everything else, man. It's crazy, man. I actually spotted him on some other show, and I was watching a couple of other shows he does, and he's got his own show as well. So I gave him a call, say, hey, listen, I'd like to have you on the show. So he's coming on this Friday live, and it's going to be very eye-awakening, that's for sure. It's going to be very controversial because for some reason the flat earth, globe earth debate is one of the biggest debates, that and evolution versus creation. For some reason, man, people get all bent out of shape. I'm in forums for evolution versus creation and flat earth against globe earth, and man, the people are vicious against each other on both sides too. It's crazy, man. People literally attack each other over something that it's just crazy. It really is, that if the Earth's round or it's a flat, or was there a Big Bang, or was there God created everything? Yeah, but the thing is, I go by what the Bible says, plain and simple. So whatever you want to call me, you call me that, but I trust God. God knows better than the scientists. So anyway, let's get into some news here. We got a lot of stuff about God in the news. So you got NCIS, that hit show about detectives or whatever. So NCIS New Orleans star Lucas Black explains why he left the hit series, and he said enough was enough. An actor who walked away from his character, Agent LaSalle, in 2019 is now starring in the Pure Flix faith film and Legacy Peak. So Pure Flix is it's a counter of Netflix, but Pure Flix is all Christian-based faith films. It's pretty cool. So Lucas Black said goodbye to NCIS New Orleans in 2019 and has not looked back since. And the actor, one of the original cast members of NCIS spinoff, stated that the agent Christopher LaSalle of 2014 was killed off in season 6, and a 39-year-old also appeared in NCIS in 2014 and 17. And he says, I think it's going to be a series I realized that operates and it wasn't going to last forever. And he explained to Fox Digital News, that being in the entertainment business since I was an early child, I was able to recognize the destructive it can be to families. So him being on the inside of Hollywood, saying I was able to recognize how destructive it can be to families. And most of the time that's because you're away from home in a long time, working hours very long. And for 3 years, it was normal work, 70 hours a week. And I couldn't go to work. The kids would still be in bed. Then I would be home and already in bed for the night and sleeping again, whatever the case. But yeah, and he just goes on how basically saying how being in Hollywood destroyed his family life and everything else. So, and him coming to the faith, and of course they're not gonna say this on Fox News, but him coming into the faith and all that. When people in Hollywood start coming into the faith and all that, the powers that be within Hollywood don't like that too much. You know what I mean? Every time a singer comes out, some actor comes out, actress, whatever the case, comes out to start exposing the stuff that's going on in Hollywood. You know what I mean? The dark stuff, the Illuminati stuff that goes on in Hollywood, SRA and all this other stuff. It's sickening, it really is. And you can't make the stuff up in movies, man. Sci-fi stuff is nothing compared to reality, what goes on in Hollywood. And it's a sick, barbaric place, that's for sure. Behind the curtains, behind the scenes, behind the cameras, a lot of nasty stuff goes on in Hollywood. So, I wish this guy luck, and I guess he signed with Pure Flix to do a film called Legacy Peak. So that's pretty cool. And you see a lot of people actually leaving the business because, good people who have a conscience, to say, this Hollywood stuff is not for me, you know what I mean? And the people who do come out, and the thing is, he's not saying nothing about the bad stuff going on in Hollywood. But the people who do that, they end up dead or they end up completely blacklisted from Hollywood or the music industry in general. So I have plans on this year sometime to do a show on they sold their souls for rock and roll, you know what I mean? And there's been tons of documentaries out there where actors or these musicians come forward to say, we sold ourselves into a cult, literally. And, got promised fame and fortune if you sold your soul. Sounds like a joke to most people, but it's not a joke to these guys. I mean, you got Jimi Hendrix. He was probably one of the best guitar players ever. He even stated that he couldn't even sell. He played a guitar in a bar room and he got kicked out. And he literally said he sold his soul to rock and roll, literally. And next thing he's playing out stadiums, he goes, half the time there wasn't even me touching the guitar. It's just like, something took control of him. And you got all these testimonies from these people, and it's crazy. So guys, thank you in the chat room for joining us live. Tim Morgan, what's up? Woo! And so Valerie and Uncle Obvious and Flying Brian, Visually Disturbance, thank you guys for moderating the chat. And Brighteon Lariva, I'll get your name right someday, Brosha. And Jamie, what's up? Who else is here? Cookie Lady, Wilford, RWG, what's going on? And Jared, what's up, brother? And everybody else joining us in the chat. So thank you guys for doing that. So back to the snooze here stuff. So switching gears, the drying up of Europe's great rivers could be the new normal. And from the Dunbai to the Laurel, in these lifelines, the continent's economy are running low after 5 months of brutal droughts and years of dry weather. So it talks about the fabled Danube River, which snakes its way for 1,800 miles in the Black Forest of Germany to the Black Sea of Romania, scores in towns, and such as the small Romania. So basically, long story short, it talks about these rivers drying up. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of explanation there. We don't have time for all that, but history goes back with these rivers. But just that talk about Europe's rivers drying up, and it could be the new normal. Well, here's the thing too. If you go to Revelation 16 here, and right here, then when the fifth angel poured out his vial upon the seat of the beast, his king. Whoops, look ahead here. So, I think it was the sixth angel here. So, hang on, so guys, I should have had this ready. It was the sixth angel. So if Revelation 16:12 says, the sixth angel poured out his vial upon a great river Euphrates, and the water thereof dried up, and they'll make way to the kings of the east to be prepared. And this goes on to the great deception coming up, with the so-called alien invasion and the battle of Armageddon and everything else. And so it talks about the great rivers Euphrates drying up. So could that be a signification? You know what I mean? So we know a lot of the rivers drying up. The Bible does talk about a lot of these major rivers drying up and doing certain things for biblical prophecy. So there you go. You know what I mean? And, if you actually look at the news, you can look at everywhere. The Euphrates River is like literally about 50% dry, and it's drying up as we speak. So this is coming to, power real soon. And that'll be the sixth angel. He's going to pour his vial upon the great river Euphrates. And we're very close to that point, guys. When these are the three unclean spirits that look like frogs. We talk about them all the time. They're, people think of reptilians, and aliens from other, planets, whatever. That's going to be, the Great Awakening, a great deception. I'm sorry. So just buckle your seatbelts for that. That's going to be crazy, man. We have like tons of shows on this stuff. So if you don't watch our shows, guys, we have Spiritual Warfare Friday. We've done scores of shows on aliens, UFOs, demons, the whole nine yards. So check it out in our playlist here. So dangerously low Mississippi River level may spark transport chaos for farm goods during harvest. So all over Europe here. Europe's great rivers are drying up here, and also in the Mississippi here in the United States. So over here, a drought is causing the parts of the Mississippi River a major export channel for the corn and soybean industries. So they're worrying about, just like in same thing here, they're worried about the economies. Basically because these rivers are used to transport goods, and also the water is used to, feed the plants and everything else. So everybody's worried about that. So because here's the thing in the Bible, right? When these rivers, a lot of these rivers and oceans, they didn't come up until after the flood, you know what I mean? And they were underground springs and all that. It was mostly earth on the earth here, you know what I mean? Just dry land. So the waters are starting to recede, you know what I mean? Because in the end times, we know there's not going to be no more oceans no more. You know what I mean? When God makes new heaven and earth, there's not going to be no more huge oceans like that no more. So, this is like God resetting us to earth here. That's what's going on. And, of course, report about this crucial U.S. waterway artery for the Midwest economy has experienced critically low levels at some points due to lack of rain. And lower water levels means barges reduce cargoes and loads to improve draft, and it takes more vessels to haul farm goods that have caused vessels shortage on the waterway. And they're saying the highest record here is up 50% from a year ago. So you're seeing this stuff all over the place, man. And this is kind of funny, right? National File says that Vladimir Putin, it's kind of funny because these people, he's working with Islamic leaders, by the way. So he's attacking the left New World Order. That's what he's doing. He's calling right out the leftist New World Order. However, he's trying to push a right New World Order. It's a battle of right versus left. The same thing with the Republican Democratic Party. You know what I mean? Two parties pushing the same thing, but their own way. You know what I mean? The right way, the right wing way, or the left wing way. That's it. But the thing is, they're both evil. You know what I mean? Yes. So the right side appears to be a lot better than the left, which it is in some cases, but still leads to the same place. You know what I mean? So you're seeing it right here too. So, Putin speaks out against far-left world order, blasts transgender mutilation of kids is outright Satanism. Well, he's 100% on that. So, Russia's president told his people exactly what is at stake for the battle against the Soros-backed world order. Like I said, guys, these are just different management teams that they want to be the CEO of the New World Order, so to speak. You know what I mean? So, exactly. He's 100% right on this. However, you know what I mean? They got their version of the New World Order, which is still satanic. You know, plain and simple. So Russia's President Vladimir Putin spoke out against the far-left's world order that's spearheading the LGBT grooming and transgender mutilation of children, calling their goals outright Satanism. In a speech he made this week in Russia's people, the colonists, and left-wing world order, Putin has said, is doomed to fail thanks to the deliberate destruction of traditional values the world over. And he was speaking at a collection of Russian lawmakers, governors, and faith leaders of the Kremlin. Putin took a stand for Christian tradition and basic human nature naturally. And so the Western corporate press immediately derided Putin's speech and even reported that the report sites have refused to translate most of the contents for the public consumption. So he was speaking to all Russians, and Putin blasted the far-left's world order that's spearheading the transgender mutilation of gay grooming of children across the Western world. And, you know what I mean, the thing is, he's right on that. You know what I mean, 100%. When you sit there and groom children, yeah, that's Satanism. And if you haven't noticed, when these Baphomet statues started going up everywhere, if you notice, the transgender agenda started increasing, you know what I mean? Because we did a whole show on these monuments and all that. By the way, tomorrow night we're premiering our, was it Nimrod show? Yeah, okay. We're re-premiering the Nimrod show, the New Babylon, because we had to take it down. Well, actually, YouTube took it down because the intro we made supposedly had copyright stuff in it. So, of course, they ripped the video down, gave me a copyright strike, and thank God it didn't affect the channel. So, we had to redo it again. So, it's going to be re-premiered tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern. So if you haven't seen that show, you want to watch it again, man, it's me and Brian Reese. It's a Spiritual Warfare Friday show. We're going to premiere tomorrow night. So check that out, guys. And this is crazy stuff, man. You know, the thing is still, like, Vladimir Putin, for the foremost, he's pushing a lot of Christian values. Understandable, right? But he's an interfaith person, you know what I mean? He also travels on with the Islamic leader and all that stuff, and, like a globalist religion. And they all do that, you know what I mean? All these nations do that. And, it doesn't matter if they're right or left. They still all support this universal one-world religion. That's what they all agree on, you know what I mean? And that's destructive, you know what I mean? That's the, New World Order. Again, you got two CEOs basically gaining for control. That's all. Same thing here in America. You have the right and the left, you know what I mean? It's just two CEOs want to gain control of the New World Order. So that's why we stay independent. That's why you got to stay independent because, you can't be deceived by this stuff. And yeah, granted, the right will have more Christian values than the left would, absolutely. But the thing is, the right is just as satanic as the left. You know what I mean? It's no difference. Of course, they'll present themselves to be Christians and all that stuff, and they're not. You know what I mean? And if you actually follow some of that stuff, man, and you see through the lies, like we're going to talk about these, these so-called angels with numbers, man, it's sickening, really is. These people seeing these angel numbers and everything, and we're going to get to that at the end of the show, but yeah, it's all connected, you know what I mean? And it's a New Age agenda. That's what it is. And you got the right, of course, big time pushing the New Age agenda. They'll go out there like, Trump will say, oh, he's a Christian and all that, right? But his pastor or spiritual advisor, Paula White, she's no Christian. People say, how could you say that? She's a Christian, her and her husband, they had a church and all that. No, they push the New Age agenda. They push the global one world government, global one world religion stuff. You know what I mean? There's nothing godly about that. And half the people Trump's got speaking for his conferences and all that, the so-called pastors or New Age pastors, plain and simple. If he's aware of it or not, don't know, okay? And, but the thing is, yeah, they present to be Christian, and some of them are, absolutely. However, the big agenda is it's nothing to do with the traditional biblical values, you know what I mean? They don't necessarily go by the Bible, you know what I mean? They go by that New Age doctrine, which is destructive, you know what I mean? And I think here's the thing, the left outright attacks the Bible. At least they tell you what they're doing, you know what I mean, directly. And, but the right, they'll present to be of that, but they're not, you know what I mean. So it's a massive deception, guys. That's why you got to stay right in the middle, man. But it's cool how he just blasts his left order against child mutilation and all that, which he's 100% right on that. You know what I mean? You can't go around doing this stuff to kids. And LGBT grooming people and the transgender mutilation of children. That's got to stop, man. And like I say this, I got to say this a million times, man. If you're an adult and you want to be a transgender, you want to be gay, bisexual, whatever, it's none of my business, okay? It doesn't affect me, okay? That's your deal with God, not mine. I'm not going to judge you. But when you start attacking the kids and putting this crap on kids, even if it's heterosexual, leave the kids the hell alone with sex. You know, I'm plain and simple. Let them be kids. Let them play with toys and everything else. Not your toys, by the way. But, yeah, let them play with toys and just worry about being a kid. You know, when you leave the sex away from kids. I don't care if it's gay, straight, bisexual, whatever. Leave the kids alone. But, the kids are the biggest targets, and a lot of people don't understand that. You know, I mean, these pedophiles running this world. You know what I mean? Right in the United States here, Germany, everywhere in the world. You got pedophiles in the governments. And these people love nothing more than target your children. And thousands of kids in the United States a day go missing. A day. They're like 33% recovered or something like that, if that. Most never to be seen again. They're putting on, being kidnapped for child sex trafficking rings and all this other stuff, SRA rituals, and some other stuff I can't talk about on YouTube. But this is just really horrible, really is. So anyway, women's sports are being robbed, and female track athletes sue Connecticut over transgender policy. So this is pretty cool here that the four former Connecticut high school female athletes are suing the state for its policy allowing transgender students to participate in women's sports. And Selena Soli, one of the track stars and athletes of the center of the lawsuit. So basically, this stuff we talk about all the time, you know what I mean? So this actually spurred years ago. I remember when this first happened, when students in Connecticut started standing up against the transgender in their sports, you know what I mean? So in other words, a guy decides, all right, I'm going to play basketball on the girls' team, or I'm going to be a female wrestler or whatever the case, right? And join a women's sport. And of course, the guy's going to dominate the sport. You know what I mean? I'm not saying men are better than women, but in the sport, you know what I mean? So basically a track star, right? A guy who could, run fast, whatever, faster than a girl. Of course, he's going to dominate the women's sport, you know what I mean? So it's not fair for women. This violates women's rights. It really does. This is bigotry against women. If they want to use that word bigotry, this is bigotry against women. It really is or sexism, whatever you want to call it, because these women, these girls, they work their whole collegiate career to try, in high school too, to try to get a scholarship for college. And when they get into college, you want to make it to the professionals, the Olympics, but to be snuffed out by a coward who wants to put a dress on to say he's a girl. It's not fair for these women. It really ain't. And shame on the schools and coaches for allowing this crap to go on. So the Connecticut's Department of Education has protected transgender students from discrimination since 2017, arguing that they are protected under Title IX of the law prohibiting schools that receive federal funding from discipline based on sex. It's not discipline. It's just like, and like we say this all the time. I mean, if there was a transgender league, nobody's going to have a problem with that. A transgender division, whatever, who cares? But don't put a guy on a girl's team when, it's disgusting what goes on. I remember that UFC fight a few years ago was claimed to be a transgender, right? Almost broke the girl's skull open. You know what I mean? It was disgusting. So it would be like Brock Lesnar fighting Serena Williams in a fight or something like that. You know what I mean? It's that's not going to be fair at all. You know what I mean? Or Michael Jordan at his prime, they're playing in the WNBA. Come on. You know what I mean? Seriously? So these poor girls, you know what I mean? And of course they're going to be upset about that. I remember when I was in high school, you know what I mean? I was captain of the wrestling team, you know what I mean? In my last year, I was a captain of the wrestling team. And I could only imagine if I was a girl, right? And, I was on a girls' team or something, and all some cowards come in to say, oh, I want to be a girl or something. And, so they put on a dress, claim to be a girl, and of course they got to dominate the men's team, the women's team, sorry. It's unbelievable, it really is. And so I hope these girls win this lawsuit. These are the women here. And yeah, one girl says, I lost out on qualifying spots for meets, better placement, and possibly even scholarship opportunities. The Solely told Fox News. It was very frustrating, heartbreaking thing to have gone through. So that's crazy, man. And they go on to tell about their stories, how they were denied certain scholarships and all that because they couldn't place enough to get these scholarships because of the transgenders and the support there. And these records were counted and achieved not in violation of the rule, but in violation of the law, which is even worse than violation, the ADF attorney Roger Brooks said. So it's just horrible. These poor girls, they depended on the school to get, high school to get a scholarship in college, just to be snuffed out. And even if you do make it to college, right, and you want to make it to the Olympics for your sport, right, just to be snuffed out by some coward. It's not fair, because the thing is, if this keeps up, everybody's going to jump on the girls' team. You know what I mean? These people there. And what's going to leave for women? Just say you have three transgenders that join the women's basketball team or whatever, track and field, right? Of course, they're going to place 1, 2, and 3. You know what I mean? And it's going to knock everybody else out of contention. Yeah, it's just not fair at all. You know what I mean? Plain and simple. So you can call me a bigot all you want, I could care less. And so girls' high school volleyball team barred from own locker room after complaining about transgender teammate who made inappropriate remarks to them. So yeah, a whole volleyball team barred from their own locker room because they complained about a transgender who was making remarks on them. So I feel like, for my state and my opinion, that I don't want a biological man changing with me. That I should not have to harassment charges or bullying charges, says a female volleyball player. So, because these girls are bad because they don't want a biological man, walking around in that locker room naked or whatever the case, yeah. Yeah, but they're the bad ones. So, yeah, we're going to bar you from your own locker room. And there's a Vermont girls' high school team in volleyball has been banned from using their own locker room after they complained about transgender teammate who made inappropriate comments to them. So teammates of the Randolph Union High School volleyball team alleged that the transgender player made an inappropriate remark to them while they were changing in the locker room. So out of that, instead of disciplining the kid, the guy, okay, he's not a girl, discipline, which he should have never been in the damn locker room. You know what I mean? When the girls are changing like that. Instead, disciplining him because we don't want to be bigots. The girls have been barred from using their own locker room and must now change in a single bathroom stall, according to the player Blake Allen. And it's a huge thing. Everyone asks. So why aren't we allowed to change in our locker room? They want all girls who feel uncomfortable, so pretty much 10 girls, to get changed in a single-stall bathroom, which would take over 30 minutes, and where if one person got changed separately, it would take a minute, like no extra time. Everybody knows girls take 3 years to change. Yeah, so... And the thing is, this shouldn't even be an argument. Why the hell are they allowing a boy in the... Might as well just make the locker rooms co-ed. You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. And, a kid who's adolescent, who's not, at that age, whatever. Of course, a kid in his adolescence, he's going to claim to be a boy. To win a girl's cheerleader in the locker room or the volleyball team. You know what I mean? It's sickening, it really is. And, a Christian family wins fight forcing government to reform transgender policies. And had been told to believe, had been told to believe boys are girls and labeled transphobic. Yeah, so this Christian family actually won a fight forcing government to reform transgender policies. So a family ordered by the school to believe that the girls can become boys and boys can become girls or labeled transphobic has won its court case over the school's aggressive attack. So, according to a report from the Christian Legal Center in the United Kingdom, the government there has promised to reform transgender policies for primary schools, and the family also is getting nearly $24,000, well, probably pounds, whatever it is over there, for legal costs already incurred. So, the issue involved Nigel Rowan, 49 years old, and his wife Sally, 47, They and their 6-year-old son were labeled transphobic by the Church of England primary school for refusing to believe that child sexes can be changed from boy to girl and vice versa. Yeah, Church of England. Remember that's the Church of England. They wanted to force on us. That's what, one of the reasons started the revolution. Yeah, so they're telling them, boys could become girls and so on. That's a church telling them that. It's crazy. But they brought a real legal action there. It now has been settled with the payment of money for them, the legal costs, and the promise of judicial review of the government's transgender affirming policies. And I guess the problem was they allowed a couple of boys to participate in class at age of 6 identified as girls. Yeah. So 6 of them at age 6 to identify as girls. And the school did not require any medical or physical assertion. Simply the word those students were just transgender. Unbelievable, man. This is just sickening. So this family won in court. Good for them. Yeah, that's what people need to do is just start suing, man, because I hate to even say that because it's, suing's not the answer for everything, but that's what you got to do. You know what I mean? And it's sick. You have to take somebody to court to assert your rights. You know what I mean? And the thing is, who's the victims out of all this? It's the kids. All the kids, it doesn't matter what side they're the victims on this. Because, I don't know, man, it's sickening. We got to live in a sick society, man. And you got secret sex talks with kids. Leftists push to hide transitioning children from parents. Yeah, so children have become the sacrificial lambs of the altar of gender ideology, which has morphed into a religion for the Democratic Party. This was actually a show. I thought it was an article. I'm sorry, guys. So, this is so true, though. And, they got schools that telling kids, like, hey, if you want to transition, we could try to hide it from the parents. We'll give you hormone pills. They're doing this stuff. It's disgusting, man. Telling little, young teenagers you could have an abortion now without your parents even knowing about it. Transition kids, they give them hormone blockers and all this other stuff, man. This is horrible. Yeah, I mean, it's like these public schools, man. Parents need to start taking the kids out. Or just getting involved with the PTA or something and overriding and stuff because once you open the door to these wackos, okay, they're going to come flooding in which they are. Like opening the floodgates. That's what's going on. They're opening the floodgates to the sick satanic crap. That's what it is. You know what I mean? I'm going to call it for what it is. It's satanic, plain and simple. You know what I mean? It's a hermaphrodite spirit, you know what I mean? An androgynous spirit. So that's what they're doing. And ever since they started putting these disgusting statues everywhere, you know what I mean? These Baphomet statues, this transgender spirit just dramatically picked up in this country. You know what I mean? And all over the world at that. And you've never seen stuff like this before. You know what I mean? And it's being encouraged by the adults. And, instead of the adults telling kids, like, it's just a fantasy. Don't, you're a boy or you're a girl. You can't do that. You know what I mean? But they'll encourage it because you got these sick, demented people who want to live the life they wish they had through their children. It's like those women out there, too, who always wanted to be in beauty pageants, right? They'll torture their little girl to push them into these beauty pageants. And meanwhile, these girls have no lives at all. You know what I mean? They can't play with their friends. They can't just be a kid. Instead, they're out going from pageant to pageant. You know what I mean? Watching what they have to eat and all this other stuff. And the mothers are trying to live their life the one they wish they had through their daughters. You know what I mean? Then on the other side, too, you got guys who do that with kids, too, for other stuff. But, you need to let the kids be kids. Stop with the crap, all the sex stuff. You know what I mean? And shame on somebody. I like to punch him right in the face, to tell you the truth, man. I don't care if it's a woman or not. Telling a little boy that you could, chop off your wiener there to be a girl or whatever the case. You know what I mean? You got to be one sick bastard, plain and simple, to actually tell a child that. Imagine that. Child's just coming into his own or her own to know their body parts and whatever the case and how they work and everything else, and then you got to sit there and confuse them with this crap. Poor innocent child, man. And if you think, I'm extreme, man, Jesus says it right out, man. It'll be better for you to tie a millstone around your neck and drown in the ocean, literally, than have to meet the father to face him for misleading his children. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't want to be in your shoes, but people need to stand up against these people. Good people out there, good men and women, you need to stand up against this crap. Doesn't matter if you're singled out. Doesn't matter what the case. You need to go to the schools. If this is going on in the schools, the libraries, whatever, you need to stand up and stand hard against this crap. Plain and simple. Because it's your children who are going to suffer the consequences of that. Remember that. By you sitting there doing nothing, your children will suffer these consequences. You got some sick pedophile. These things, these progressives, these socials have no business, okay, or right to be a teacher or a public office in this country. Look what they're doing here in Rhode. They're trying to push a sex ed bill. That's still in the works right now. And it's a sex ed bill, basically. If it passes, it'll teach young little toddlers how to sexually pleasure themselves. And they say they do this because we want to avoid sexual assault. What? You know what I mean? It's like, all right, well, let's push a bill because we want to avoid people robbing stores. So we're going to let you rob banks instead. You know what I mean? It's insanity. You know what I mean? And you got these pedophiles out there. You got State Senator Samuel Bell here in Rhode Island. He's trying to push this bill through. You know what I mean? This again to make it that kids learn how to sexually pleasure themselves in school. You got to be 1 son of a bitch, plain and simple. I'm going to say it right out like that to actually believe that. You know what I mean? To actually do that to kids. These people have no business or right being in public office or in schools teaching. But they're all over the country. You know what I mean? And parents need to start doing something about it. I'm telling you one thing. If this was probably 50 years ago, maybe or 100 years ago, especially 100 years ago, yeah, they'd be dragged out in their asses by the parents. And that'll be the end of that. So, wife of a pro-life activist described the raid of 30 armed FBI agents. We talked about this a couple times already. This pastor here, there was a priest, I'm sorry. So it was Mark Hawk, 48-year-old, a Catholic pro-life activist who showed up every Wednesday on the public sidewalk outside Planned Parenthood clinic in Philadelphia to provide counsel for women seeking alternative to abortion. So, mind you, this guy was peaceful. I know people, have their right. Beliefs about abortion, whatever the case. Okay, that's not what we're talking about. All right, if you believe pro-life, pro-choice, whatever the case, we're not arguing that right now. I'm pro-life, but whatever the case. So this guy is peacefully standing on the sidewalk, not blocking nobody, offering advice to people going to get abortions. Right. So he was raided by the FBI. The guns pointing to him and his kids' faces and his whole family. Because he was giving counsel to women and who are seeking an alternative to abortion. So on Wednesday, October 21st, 2021, a volunteer escort at the clinic, 72-year-old Bruce Love, threatened Hawk's 12-year-old son, yelling obscenities to the boy. And Hawk, when Love got too close to son, the guy Love, he got too close to his son, he continued with crude, vulgar slurs, according to the family, pushed the volunteer away and fell down, requiring only a Band-Aid and Love's finger. So the Philadelphia District Attorney, Larry Krashner, a George Soros ally, who is now no supporter of pro-life movement at all, so decided not to press charges, and Love filed a private complaint against Hawk, but never bothered to show up in court. And the case was thrown out. So nevertheless, the Justice Department took up the case, and last week, as many as 30 FBI agents in tactical gear showed up at the guy's home here. That's Mark Hawk. His wife, Anne Marie, and 7 children, all arrested him at gunpoint. So they busted in his dirt just because this case was dropped, right? So the Justice Department took this case up, and they're in their home, and all of a sudden 30 FBI agents, all tactical gear, showed up and arrested Mark Hawk in front of his wife and the 7 children. You know what I mean? Scared the hell out of him. And Ryan Marie described the dramatic arrest in the homes in Kittensville, Pennsylvania. And she said, my entire front yard, you could barely see it. It was covered with at least 15 big cars and trucks, she told Carlson. And she said she was devastated over the experience of her home, noting the children are undergoing counsel, and there's a lot of crying and a lot of unrestful sleep. And I mean, it's hard to believe that the victimization of how traumatized we all are. That's horrible, man. It really is. Yeah, a bunch of cowards showing. Well, because what kind of threat? Instead of knocking at the guy's door, say, "Listen, hey, the district attorney wanted to do an investigation. We need you to come down with us." Right? That would, even though it's still wrong, but that would have been more appropriate. You don't need to SWAT raid this guy's house, okay, and scare the hell out of his children. Yeah, knock at his door, say, "Excuse me, Mr. Hawk, we need to talk to you. Could you come down with us?" Whatever. That would have been presentable. You know what I mean? But no, they're gonna, pull their mafia stuff in front of the kids. Bunch of cowards. That's what they are. You know what I mean? Like a whole SWAT team, 30 FBI agents swarming there. Mr. Badass, because we could demonstrate our power in front of children. Yeah, that's where we need accountability, man. I tell you, man, that shouldn't go on. It shouldn't. Bunch of cowards. So check this out. AOC, the dingbat here from New York. Having babies constricts parents to work against their will. What? So reduces abortion to economic issue. So she looks like a donkey right here. So Representative Alexander Ocasio-Cortez, a Democrat from New York, argued Thursday that access to abortion should be treated as an economic issue because policies that force women to have children also force them to work so they can afford to raise those children. So she said the form of economic conscription. And again, she says abortion is an economic conscription issue, and she said in a House hearing called by Democrats discussing restrictions on abortion. And she's going to force the poor and working class people to give birth against their will, against their consent, against their ability to provide for themselves or a child. It's a profound economic issue, and it's certainly a way to keep a workforce basically conscripted to large-scale employers to work more against their will, to take a second and third jobs that desire their own autonomy. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's actually a congresswoman. If you don't know any about this is actually a congresswoman from New York, known as AOC. The stupidity that comes out of this girl's mouth it's uncanny. That's what you do, okay? I remember my grandparents, on my mother's side, having 13 kids. Yeah, when you have kids, you got to go out and work. That's what you do, okay? Okay, when you have kids, you have to go out and work and support them. That's been like that since the man walked the face of the earth. You have children, you got to do extra stuff to support them too now. That's been going on. This girl's a moron. She really is. How is she's in Congress? I have no idea. And, it just shows the reflection of the people in New York. The trendy people in New York, ooh, bunch of trendy slobs, like, I'll shut up. But yeah, let's elect this idiot. She's been here for like 3 terms now, I think, because Congress is every 2 years. But yeah, I hope she gets voted out this year. But if people in New York, if you have any sanity left, okay, why the hell would you vote this idiot in? Yeah, I can see if you want to vote a Democrat, whatever. Vote somebody that has some cognitive dissonance other than this retard. This girl is like dingbat personified. It really is. Yeah. That's normal, okay, AOC? Like when you're like me and my wife there, when we had a kid, yeah, we have to work extra. That's normal. That's how it goes, okay? It's going to force people to work harder. Or like you know anything about work, you stupid dingbat. Idiots, man, I tell you. So, moving on here. With fewer people able to have children, global technocrats believe they have the answer called digital families. So they're pushing this whole AI thing. And experts in artificial intelligence are predicting that within a few decades, we will not only have digital money, digital IDs, and digital surveillance on everything, and we do everything we do and everywhere we go. But we will also have digital families. The idea of creating a virtual children powered by AI is already in the pipeline. Speaking of that, I just, I don't know if I still got it on my Facebook. There's ads out there. Let me see if I can find that quick. Probably won't. I guess I got this new app now. It's, an artificial intelligence app that you could talk to and everything, and it's artificial intelligence. They're promoting this big time. You know what I mean? They also got robots too, little robots that hang out with elderly people to give them, company, whatever the case, and they sit there and talk to them like a normal human being. And the whole push for AI is getting big, man. It really is. And now they're saying that, yeah, it's crazy, man. Now hang on, let me see if I can find it quick here. No, I can't. Shoot. But yeah, this AI system is they're really picking this up, and they got one called Sophie too. It's a female companion. I'm gonna leave it at that. Yeah, it's fully AI that could have conversations with you and other things with you too. Gonna leave it at that. So yeah. So they're saying within 40, 50 years, no, the way they're going right now, it's probably going to be 10. But as people find themselves increasingly frustrated in the inability to procreate, behavioral scientists and computer engineers believe the folks will warm the idea to the raising of digital children in the metaverse. So they talk about, imagine that, the metaverse is you're sitting there with virtual reality. I mean, you got these glasses on and everything, and that's your whole life. You live in this rundown, crumbed apartment under the Agenda 2030. Everybody's stacked into these metropolitan buildings there, and your whole life, is based inside this apartment, but in the virtual world. And you buy things in the virtual world, and you can have children in there. That's what they're pushing. And, because they don't want you having real children. That's the thing. It's part of that. I can't see it on YouTube here. But the Agenda 2030, I'll leave it at that. So Elon Musk unveils a new $20,000 humanoid robot. So Musk claimed it wouldn't be a fundamental transformation for civilization as we know it. It would be a fundamental transformation for civilization as we know it. And that's the robot right there. Let me see if there's a video on that. Me sense of the music here. So that's the robot. Oh, that's crazy. $20,000 for that. So none of this is cutting edge. Tweeted robotics expert Cynthia Young. Hire some PhDs to go some robotic conferences. So yeah, this is nuts, man. Despite the high octane lights and music that surround it, the company's human-shaped robot did not deliver bells and whistles as AI Day presentation in Palo Alto, California. So this is actually came out after months of tweets and teas, and Elon Musk's Tesla's new humanoid Optimus robot was slammed by AI and robotics experts during the unveiling Friday. So basically they said it was junk. And I'm surprised Elon Musk didn't have something better than that, because the robots they got now, man, like I said, they're like very human-like. And like that one Sophie too, it's like a woman. When they put everything on it, it literally looks like a real human. You know what I mean? And they got these things out there. You know what I mean? They're like all these robots. So they're pushing artificial intelligence everywhere. Even though Tesla's robot, because they want to make it affordable, he said, for $20,000, but $20,000 is not affordable for most people. But either way, man, you know what I mean? That's, you can see where the society's going. Men having sex with robots, the Sophie one, or the one have digital babies inside the metaverse, and yeah, it's nuts. It really is. Yeah, like Brian says, you can't make this stuff up. So, Chinese scientists successfully create world's first mammal with fully reprogrammed genes. So, Chinese scientists have successfully recombination a mouse's chromosomes to create the world's first mammal with fully reprogrammed genes. Using the gene editing tool, CRISPR, researchers from the Chinese Academy of Sciences in Beijing broke down the chromosomes into different segments and rearranged them in different combinations to create a new package of genes, resulting in a mouse called Zhaozing Little Bamboo. There was a paper published in the academic journal Science on Thursday revealed that the research team accomplished the first ever modifications of genes into mammals on a big scale as chromosomes. And chromosomes, which holds DNA in cells and nuclei, break apart and recombine naturally via the complicated and delicate process in the past. Humans have successfully replicated the process in the lab with single-cell organisms like these. So, long story short, does it in plain English? Yeah. Reprogrammable genes. Yeah. You know where that's got to go, right? Yeah. As the days of Noah, so she'll be in a... Yeah, exactly. That's what they're doing to humanity. Yeah, and the thing is, this is nothing compared to what they're actually doing. You know what I mean? They're growing fetuses in labs, half animal, half human, and real stuff too. You know what I mean? The Splice. If you ever seen the movie Splice, that's what they're doing today. Unbelievable, really is. So we're going to go to the quote of the day brought to you by MidstateGuns.com. It's Rhode Island's largest indoor shooting range located in Coventry, Rhode Island. And Thomas Jefferson says, the beauty of the Second Amendment is that it will not be needed until the day they try to take it. So let that sink in for a minute. The beauty of the Second Amendment is that it will not be needed until they try to take it. So if they try to take it, that's when you use it. And that's the main reason the Second Amendment was created for, to protect you, me, and everybody else here against our own government. Number one reason. So, other than that, guys, we're going to go to a quick break. So we got to, hang on a second, let me get to the video. Christy from Infowars.com, MSN and Big Tech now collude to censor God and family values. We'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know about iodine deficiency, and if you don't know what this tri-iodine formula can do for you and your family, you owe it to yourself to visit InfoWarsStore.com and research X3 today.
Reporters are practicing safe hurricane coverage, and apparently Ian will not get anything through this. Yep, that's a condom wrapped securely on a mic. Got your attention? This picture went viral for all the wrong reasons this week. Now, in my 15 years in TV news, I'd never seen this done, but in all fairness, apparently this is a thing. It does beg some questions, though. Where did the condom come from? Does the news station keep a box at work? Either way, the stick mic was able to evacuate safely. Bringing you what's ignored, sensationalized, misleading, or just plain false, here's your media malfeasance for the week. President Biden had a difficult time safely evacuating a podium on Thursday.
Mr. President.
Was he looking for Jackie again?
Representative Jackie, are you here? Where's Jackie? I didn't think she was going to be here.
Representative Jackie Walorski died in a car accident in August. President Biden had actually released a statement at the time of her death. Now, the press corps actually did their job and asked about the gaffe in relation to growing concern over the president's cognitive health. It didn't go well for KJP.
And she was on top of mine. I mean, that is not an unusual scenario there.
I have John Lennon top of mind just about every day, but I'm not looking around for him anywhere.
When you sign a bill for John Lennon as president, then we can have this conversation. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
These moments of confusion are happening with the race.
Go ahead.
Excuse me, there are Americans are watching this and are having concerns. What do you say to that? This is a legitimate question. We need to have some answers.
The corporate media machine is trying their best to use the hurricane hitting Florida against its governor, Ron DeSantis, but it's not been working out well.
Whoa. Give me a break. That is nonsense. Stop politicizing, okay? Stop it. We declared a state of emergency when this thing wasn't even formed. We've had people in here, you've had counties doing, they've done a lot of hard work, and honestly, you're trying to attack me, I get, but like you're attacking these other people who've worked very hard, and so that's just totally false.
Yet propaganda puppets still champion a candidate like this.
And the Eagles are so much better than the Eagles. No.
And MSM is losing its mind over Giorgia Meloni being elected Italy's new prime minister on Tuesday. Just look at all the headlines, making sure they describe her as far right or right wing. How come you never see headlines describing a candidate as far left or super socialist? Even before she was elected, Politico's headline reads more like satire. Will Italy's first female prime minister be bad for women? Or how about this? Giorgia Meloni is a danger to Italy and the rest of Europe. Roberto Saviano is referring to her slogan, God, Homeland, and Family. Wow, scary. It's so scary to mention God or family that YouTube pulled down Meloni's 2019 World Congress of Families speech, where she focused on family values. In it, she says, why is the family an enemy? Why is the family so frightening? Because it defines us, because it is our identity, because everything that defines us is now an enemy for those who would like us to no longer have an identity and to simply be perfect consumer slaves. Oh, but YouTube says removing the video was just a mistake. Why do these mistakes only affect one side? Russell Brand asked a similar question this week.
We have been officially censored by YouTube. They took down one of our videos for misinformation. But why are big media organizations not censored for misinformation in the same way? Is it because YouTube are part of the mainstream media now?
They removed his video on the eve of his new Rumble show debut. Interesting timing. And Don Lemon gets owned again this week.
What effect does climate change have on this phenomenon that is happening now? Because it seems these storms are intensifying. That's the question.
I don't think you can link climate change to any one event.
Okay, well, listen, I grew up there, and these storms are intensifying.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't take Don Lemon's word for anything, frankly. Just look at the science. We're told trust the science. Well, I'll quote you the science. Even the United Nations Bible of global warming, the latest report of its Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, they admit we're in fact getting fewer cyclones and hurricanes with global warming. Fewer, or the same, not more. And it's not clear yet if we are getting more intense ones.
But while hyping up the hurricane, our big three ignore the major stock market dive this week. Newsbusters, the stock market plunged at the end of the second quarter, blotting out a whopping $9 trillion worth of Americans' wealth. But the ABC, CBS, and NBC evening news shows completely ignored the news on Tuesday night. But they sure did report every little dip under Trump. Here's why the media ignores the crash. FactsAreFirst.com keeps an updated Biden versus Trump market comparison. The Trump-era market performed as high as 63% better. And after a media blitz of recession denial, which appeared to include attempts at redefining the word, now it's, we're not in a recession, but if we are, it's great. WAPO, 7 ways a recession could be good for you financially. But is Fox News any better? Information Liberation points out Fox News' Griffin says there's no evidence U.S. was involved in Nord Stream 2 explosion this week because the Pentagon says so. That's it. That's the source. Anyone remember the Pentagon Papers scandal? CNBC tied itself in knots on Thursday over this report. The first openly trans Army major and doctor wife charged in plot to give U.S. military medical info to Russians to help in war against Ukraine. Jordan Chamberlain, CNBC is so afraid to misgender the trans Army officer who tried to give soldiers medical information to Russia that they changed their article 3 times. And here's something that flew under the radar. FBI changes total number of documents seized from Trump's estate. 63 additional documents or photographs were taken from Trump's resort than the FBI listed before. Nothing shady about that. I'll leave you with this. If you're frustrated, you're not alone. A recent Gallup poll finds nearly 80% of Americans are dissatisfied with the way things are going. To stop the gaslighting and find the truth, see all my content on freenews.news and join my community. Subscribe at ChristyLeeTV.locals.com.
And welcome back. So, talking about the pipelines. So, yeah, everybody's blaming everybody for the pipelines. It's crazy. And, you know, is this going to spark World War III? You know, is this going to spark nuclear war? That's the big question here. So, let me get to my articles here. I got to get this stuff straight now. And my computer's a mess here. So, anyway, yeah. So, back to the news. Top Army Colonel, Nord Stream sabotage clearly not executed by Russia. So, the German population is being polled overwhelming is opposite of the notion of any war with Russia and dismiss out the notion of the Russians are responsible for the pipeline, says Douglas McGregor. And no one wants to go to war with Russia other than Poland and a few people in Washington, D.C. That's what he's saying. He was on Fox News. Ukraine applies for a fast track to NATO membership as well. We're going to get to that in a minute. But most people don't believe Russia sabotaged Nord pipelines, only because one's broadcasting his desire for war are Biden administration and neocons in D.C., according to retired Army Colonel Douglas McGregor. So he said the destruction of the Nord pipelines was clearly not executed by Russia. No one believes that, McGregor said on Friday, which kind of makes sense because, like, why would they do that? Because they supply Germany with this gas and all that stuff. So we don't know who did it. You know what I mean? That's the thing. You know, everybody's got to point fingers at each other. Was the United States that did that? Was Russia sabotaged their own? And that would be a call false flag. You know what I mean? That's when you do something like that and blame your political enemy. And, reasons to go to war. Or it could have been Ukraine. We don't know. Or NATO, There's a lot of culprits here. So, in fact, German population is being polled in the overwhelmingly opposed to the notion of any war with Russia and dismisses out of the hand the notion that the Russians are responsible for the pipeline. So, the German population says, no, we're not going to go to war with Russia. You got to be a fool to do that. And in reality, you don't. I mean, you got to be a fool to go to war with anybody. You know what I mean? Like, you should always try to make some kind of peace. But yeah, they're right. The Biden administration, they're warmongers. You know what I mean? Plain and simple. And, this could be said for all the other administrations too. It's all about war, divide and conquer. And that's never going away, So McGregor said Russian President Vladimir Putin may escalate his military operation into Ukraine to settle the conflict on terms, and we may not like it because it knows that the Biden administration won't negotiate with him. And Putin has decided that no one in Washington will negotiate with him, and he knows that Washington is ultimately in control. And I think he's going to settle with the dispute in Ukraine on terms of acceptable to Russia that we may not like. But other than Poland, there's no one interested in going to war with Russia. So it persists on this line, and we will see NATO dissolved and fragment. So, well, the thing is, NATO is one instigating this whole damn thing. That's the problem here. You know what I mean? Yeah, people failing to see. NATO is the one. This would have been over with. You know what I mean? Ukraine, Russia's always had little conflicts and whatnot. Nothing like this. You know what I mean? This is a NATO proxy war. That's what it is. You know what I mean? They're sitting there instigating it because they want to expand west. That's the thing. You know what I mean? NATO's the problem. That if you want to put it down to the facts, that NATO's the problem. And we don't know who blew up the pipelines. I don't know. You know what I mean? It could have been Ukraine, could have been Russia doing it themselves to blame Ukraine, or, you know what I mean? It could have been the United States, could have been NATO, could have been anybody. It could have been just an accident, you know what I mean? None of us know, you know what I mean? But they do use these things to go to war. And nobody's guilty, guys. Nobody's innocent on either side. These are two giant teams, okay, that using this war and conflict to gain control of the New World Order. That's what they're doing. There's nothing, you know what I mean? Putin's not any better than this one or that one. All these people are just as bad as each other, plain and simple. And again, it's just a bunch of, like in the mafia family, you know what I mean? If the boss dies, everybody's going to be stabbing each other in the back to gain control of the mafia organization. That's how it is. So, Nord pipeline rupture, largest single release of methane record, says the United Nations. So, this is not helpful in the moment when we absolutely need to reduce emissions, says UN Environmental Program Chief. Incident reveals globalists care nothing about the environment, only control and power. That's true. That's 3 miles, by the way. See that? Those bubbles going off? That's a 3 mile radius. That's crazy. So the ruptured Nord Stream pipelines have produced the single largest methane release into the atmosphere ever recorded, according to the United Nations. And the highly concentrated methane leaking from the natural gas pipelines, widely suspected to be the result of sabotage, was detected on the UNEP's International Methane Emissions Observatory earlier this week. So this is really bad, most likely the largest emissions event ever detected, said the IMEO chief. That's crazy.
It's likely to be the biggest burst of methane on record. Here, the gas can be seen bubbling up to the surface following what is widely suspected to be sabotage of the underwater Nord Stream 1 and 2 pipelines. Methane is the main component of natural gas, and it's responsible for roughly 30% of the rise in global temperatures, causing environmental watchdog Greenpeace to sound the alarm.
Over the next 20 years, a crucial time period for climate action, every tonne of methane emitted contributes to global heating as much as 84 tonnes of CO2. Leaking gas is a climate disaster.
Over a century, it is about 28 times worse than carbon dioxide in terms of its warming effects. It's still unclear just how much methane will be discharged. One Danish official warned that the gas leaks could pump the equivalent of 1/3 of Denmark's annual greenhouse gas emissions. A professor of atmospheric physics at the University of Manchester said that some of the methane will be oxidized in the water and turned into CO2. But he said most of the gas would reach the surface as methane. Emissions of this gas have surged in recent years. In February, the International Energy Agency said it estimated that methane emissions from the energy sector were 70% higher than officially reported. It's like...
Yeah. So they got use all kinds of excuses with this thing. You know what I mean? To push their climate change initiatives and all kinds of stuff, carbon taxes. Yeah, they could go so many different ways. That's why these things are called false flags. And false flag doesn't mean it's fake. You know what I mean? Something does happen, and they cash in on it. It was Robert Emanuel. He quoted that, never let a good crisis go to waste. You know what I mean? They capitalize on crisis, regardless if they're natural or planned that way. You know what I mean? They capitalize on it, you know? And everything they do that with. And it's all about season control. It's all it's about. It's nothing to do with safety or saving anything. You know, it's about control. So President Joe Biden accused Vladimir Putin of lying about deliberate act of sabotage of Nord Stream pipelines because Putin thinks the United States did it. And President Joe Biden delivered remarks at the White House on Friday and accused Russian President Vladimir Putin of lying about the damage that the incapacitated of the Nord Stream pipelines. So it was a deliberate act of sabotage. And now the Russians are pumping out disinformation and lies, Biden said. So and then here's the other flip side of the coin, too. Anything they say is disinformation is probably true. Most likely it's true. You know what I mean? It's opposite with these people. If they say left, you go right. If they say go up, you go down. You know what I mean? That's how these people operate here. Russian disinformation. Yeah, right, whatever. Yeah, because you people don't push disinformation every day on the internet. Yeah, and we get tagged on YouTube for disinformation. It's so dumb, it really is. So the president finally made a statement in reaction to the pipeline after repeatedly ignoring reporters' questions about it Thursday. That's because they didn't have nothing to say. You know what I mean? Like, when they don't answer questions like that because their controllers don't put nothing on the teleprompter from the answer those questions by. So they'll avoid the questions if they come up with a good answer for it. So the sanctions were not enough for the Anglo-Saxons. They moved into sabotage, Putin said. It's hard to believe that the fact that they organized a blast on the Nord Stream international gas pipeline. So again, it's finger pointing. He did it, they did it, they did it, they did it, you know. So Blinken, Nord Stream explosions are a tremendous opportunity. Like I just said that. Cash in on a crisis. So Washington can now step in as Europe's top supplier of LNG, the Biden administration explained. Yeah. Because Russia was making money off those pipelines, supplying Germany and other countries with the gas, right? So, whoops, something happened to them. And let's cash in on this now, because now we could be the supplier for those gas lines. So the U.S. views the sabotage of the Nord Stream gas pipeline as a tremendous opportunity. Like I said, cash in on it, right? To wean the continent off of Russia's energy, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken told reporters on Friday, with the winter approaching, Blinken said that the U.S. wants Europe to decrease its fuel use. Here's the thing. What's the United States have to do with Europe? Mind your business. It's a different continent. If they want to use all the fuel they want, they can. See, it's all about control. You read right through the lines, right? That's all it is. About control, making money. Yeah, 100 years ago, 150, these people would be at the end of a rope for this treason, crimes against humanity as well. And he was speaking to reporters in D.C., and then leading supplier of the liquefied natural gas of Europe, in addition to shipping its own fuel to Europe. Blinken said that the U.S. is working with European leaders here to find ways to decrease demand and speed up the transition of renewables. So, there's an agenda right there. Because Europe wasn't really fully compliant with this whole Green Deal crap. So they're like, since these things are destroyed, we could push these electric cars and everything else. And yeah, how are those electric cars working out in Florida and California right now? They could barely have enough power for the houses, never mind the cars. But anyway, it's a tremendous opportunity to once and for all remove all dependence on Russian energy and thus take away from Russia, President Vladimir Putin, the weaponization of energy as means of advancing his imperial designs. Oh, you mean like Biden does? Yeah. So the U.S. likely stands to gain the most from the destruction of the Nord Stream 1 and 2 pipelines, which were demanded by a series of explosions in Danish islands of Bornholm. Unreal, man. And Russian media shows chilling footage of mushroom clouds in anticipation of nuclear conflict, and it calls for Putin to take drastic measures to win the Ukraine. So Putin's propaganda television shows that chilling nuclear explosion sequence, and the sequence shows the Armageddon aftermath along with gas masks, and the sinister TV sequence blamed the West for too much talk of nuclear war and became a lieutenant. As a lieutenant here, called for atomic strikes to be done on Ukraine agenda. So yeah, everybody's going to be flexing their muscles. This is what's going on. So right now, everybody's flexing their muscles. You know what I mean? They'll do a nuclear test and show it to the world. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's like somebody going like, yeah. It's like, yeah, look at that right there. You know what I mean? To a guy with like a little arm. Yeah, look at me. Yeah, come and mess with me. That's what they're doing right now. They're flexing their muscles around. Yeah. They got to run TV commercials, all kinds of stuff. And yeah, there's the video here. So that's Russia flexing their muscles in media. And be assured the United States is going to be the same thing, Ukraine and everybody else. So everybody's like playing cat and mouse right now. That's what's going on. You know, they should put all these leaders in the cage and, let these leaders fight it out. Because innocent people, you got good people in Ukraine, good people in Russia, good people in all over Europe, good people in the United States here. Now leaders are jerks. They're diaper bags, plain and simple. Every one of them are evil, pure damn pedophile scum. That's what they are. So, yeah, our militaries are expandable. They don't care about the military. They're to be used as pawns in foreign policy. The dumb, stupid animals. That was a quote by Henry Kissinger. Saying our military is a bunch of dumb, stupid animals to be used as pawns in foreign policy. That's a direct quote from Henry Kissinger. Yeah, that's what they think of the military. And the people are just expandable. They could care less. Because the less people, the better for them. Because they want to rule the New World Order without no resistance. So Kamala Harris says Biden administration will focus on giving hurricane relief resources based on equity to communities of color. So Ron DeSantis, spokesperson, accuses her of lying. So basically, that's not racist. So, that's what the vice president's saying. Yeah, we'll give some resources, but only to communities of color. How about to everybody? How's that sound? Everybody, in Florida, they got Cubans in Florida. They got blacks in Florida, Hispanics, Mexicans now too. People of all sorts. Why just people of color? That's racist. Imagine if a president came out to say, we're going to focus on giving resources to communities of whites. You know what kind of national chaos that would cause? But it's okay for the retard vice president of the United States to come out and say, oh yeah, the racist retard president, vice president there, to say, oh, it's just communities of color. And she was slammed by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, rapid response director Christina Pushaw, after a former senator made racially charged comments regarding the release of federal relief funds following Hurricane Ian. And Harris said it was a people of color in lower income communities who are most impacted by these extreme weather conditions. So, yeah, it's Category 4 hurricane, this thing, right? monstrous Category 4 hurricane. Anybody out there as a climatologist or a weatherman, could you please explain to us how a Category 4 hurricane just picks people to victimize because of their color and race? So these hurricanes are racist. Yeah, but you can't make this stuff up, man. Yeah, you really can't. What a dingbat. And it's race based. That's what it is. She's not dumb. I'm not. She's not AOC. She's. I don't like the woman, but she's certainly not dumb. All right, but this is race bait. That's what it is. So they're more. People in low income and they're more impacted. No, everybody's impacted by it. Doesn't matter how rich you are. You got rich homes out there that are impacted by it. This is just the way to cause the. Let me just play this here.
It is our lowest income communities and our communities of color that are most impacted by these extreme conditions and impacted by issues that are not of their own making. And so absolutely. And so we have to address this in a way that is about giving resources based on equity, understanding that we fight for equality, but we also need to fight for equity, understanding not everyone starts out at the same place. And if we want people to be in an equal place, sometimes we have to take into account those disparities and do that.
So equity. It's about equality. No, how about equality? What's anything got to do with a damn hurricane? Plain and simple. Race or color has nothing to do with that. You've got millions of people in Florida of all different colors, race, and everything else, and genders, and religions, and all that, all victims equally of the hurricane. This is how these people are, man. Everything's going to be about race. And I'm surprised she didn't call people bigots because, these people are just dumb. They really are. And Ron DeSantis, I hope and pray this guy runs for president. He'll have my vote in a second. You know what I mean? But anyway, he's the governor of Florida. But he says we're a Second Amendment state. Ron DeSantis puts looters on notice after Hurricane Ian. That's awesome. So Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has put would-be looters on notice that they may get more than they're bargaining for if they attempt to break into homes of people's homes after the hurricane. He goes, don't even think about looting. Don't even think about taking advantage of people in this vulnerable situation. So our local law enforcement is involved in monitoring that, he said during the Friday presser. And you got people bringing boats into some of these islands and all that stuff for ransacking people. I could tell you that the state of Florida, you never know what may be lurking behind somebody's home. And I would not want to chance it if I were you, given that we're a Second Amendment state, Ron DeSantis said.
Not so much. The other thing that we're concerned about, particularly in those areas that were really hard hit, is we want to make sure we're maintaining law and order. Don't even think about looting. Don't even think about taking advantage of people in this vulnerable situation. And so local law enforcement is involved in monitoring that. I told Kevin if the state needs to help as well, because you can have people bringing boats into some of these islands and trying to ransack people's homes. I can tell you, in the state of Florida, you never know what may be lurking behind somebody's home. And I would not want to chance that if I were you, given that we're a Second Amendment state.
Governor,
That's awesome.
St. Johns County, I want to ask you...
So, yeah. yeah, I wouldn't chance that if I were you because, behind most of these doors is somebody with a gun. Yeah, so... Yeah, that goes out to other looters too, like BLM and Antifa, because they love to do stuff like that. So, I wouldn't think about it, that's for sure. So, 3-year-old boy among 6 killed by gunfire in Chicago over the weekend. 7-year-old boy among 34 people wounded. So, another great weekend in the city of Chicago. And I just want to throw it out there. We do this every Monday. So, 34 people in Chicago that were... wounded, and it was a total of, I think, it's about 40 people shot in Chicago this week. Every week we do this. Every Monday we come on and show you how many people were shot in the city of Chicago. And mind you guys, this is all the reports from Chicago. And, they pride themselves on the greatest gun control in the country. But, look at that. Them in D.C., Los Angeles, Baltimore. And this website here keeps all the stats of all the the shots going off in Chicago. Yeah. Last week's total, right? 69 people shot in Chicago last week. Year to date, this is crazy. This is more than the war's going on right now. Just in the city of Chicago, 2,800 people shot in Chicago in the year. This is September, right? The month of September. 364 people shot in the month of, just in Chicago. And they say, oh, gun control works. Yeah, we need to push gun control. Yeah. And every time you push gun control, these numbers just go up because innocent people can't defend themselves. And you got criminals running around like it's the Wild West. 63 people dead in Chicago and just in the month of September. Yeah. That just passed. 500 people dead in 1 year in Chicago. That's insane. You know what I mean? You would think this is some kind of war zone, which it is. Just that one city right there, that's it. All these numbers coming from that one city. And that idiot mayor, Lightfoot, we call it Beetlejuice there. Just don't say that 3 times. Because she might appear in your room. Oh, God forbid. Oh. But yeah. Gun control works, yeah. Tell that to the 2,800 victims last year. Unbelievable. So switching gears here, we get to the final topic, guys. So what are angel numbers and why do people keep seeing them? So if you haven't seen this stuff already, this has been everywhere. So angel numbers and the meanings reportedly vary based on spiritual and religious beliefs. So this woman, of course, Fox has to bring this up because this woman here, she's selling her book, Faith Still Moves Mountains. Harris Faulkner's book, Faith Still Moves Mountains, is some bestseller, whatever. Fox News is promoting her. But anyway, for some reason they bring up numerology and angel numbers. Now, you all heard and seen this stuff, the 1111, 111, or 444, stuff like that, right? And people say, or they find a feather on the ground and say, oh, that's an angel trying to communicate with you. Or, you wake up and all the time it's always the alarm clock. You happen to see the alarm clock all the time. It says 1111. I have to roll my eyes at that crap. It's so stupid, it really is. And I'm not saying it's not real. It is real. It's very real. But these are not angels of God. I'm going to point that out right now. And most of the time, it's just coincidence. Yeah. But these things really do happen. And yeah, you are being communicated with by a supernatural being. But it's not an angel of God. Okay, I'm going to burst a lot of people's bubbles on this. Or their guardian angel. There's no such thing as guardian angels. Your mother, your father, your dead loved ones, okay, your family relatives, whatever, they don't become angels. They don't watch over you, okay? They don't protect you, right? People need to start reading the Bible. You know, this is what really pisses me off, man. And people, professing Christians, actually believe in this crap. Say, did you ever bother picking up the book instead of listening to the moron behind the pulpit, right? Did you ever bother picking this up and read it for yourself? Spiritual warfare. Stuff like this is just like really amps me up to no end. This is what one of the main things that encouraged me to start a Spiritual Warfare Friday show. Because the lack of spiritual warfare knowledge is insane in this country. Everywhere, in the churches. Number one, yes, you know about Jesus in the church, right? Number one, this should be absolutely number one, right? Which, granted, a lot of churches do. But they teach a half-assed version. Number two should be spiritual warfare, which they don't do anymore. The pastors barely even know it. Somebody comes in with sleep paralysis. Oh, it's just a medical condition. You got to go see a psychiatrist or something. Or a doctor. No, that's a spiritual attack, idiot. You know what I mean? And, these people really piss me off to no end. So they say angel numbers may appear on the alarm clock next to your bedside or printed on a deli counter ticket as you're waiting until your turn to be called. So all these, while might be a coincidence, many people believe that angels send signs and communicate with us by the using of the angel numbers. And 570 BC, Pythagoras, a Greek philosopher, teacher, mathematician, and inventor of numerology, was born. Now, yeah, if you know anything about Pythagoras, right? Pythagoras was a huge occultist. Into the dark arts and everything else. He actually learned numerology in Egypt. It's ancient teachings that pass along. They don't write the stuff down. It's a school. It's an ancient mystery school that they teach numerology in. And that's where he received his training from, which is more of a spiritual teaching. You know what I mean? So Pythagoras, yeah, he was a very evil person. We're going to leave it at that, right? So he was inventor and all that. Yeah, absolutely. And no, I hate when they call these people philosophers. Manly P. Hall is a philosopher. Yeah, these people are fools. That's what they are. Were, I should say. So anyway, he developed a thing called numerology. It's also, gematria too. It's another name for that too. It's the study of numbers and all that. So anyway, he believed that numbers could be found everywhere and tied to the universe according to the Ministry of Numerology.com. So yeah, there's them blindly promoting that website. Yeah. Anyway, so today there are several books claiming to help people understand whether there's spiritual meaning behind seeing numbers, the same numbers repeatedly, or a frequent rate. So some believe that seeing a repeated pattern of numbers of certain symbols, such as a rainbow, mean that the guardian angel is visiting. No, just means it just got done raining or wow. So when you see a rainbow in the sky, the rainbow is created by God as a covenant, as a sign that he would never flood the earth again. And also a reminder why he flooded the earth, by the way. So for those rainbow people running around with the LGBT, yeah, you might want to pay attention to that. So, yeah. So anyway, this could be also, the angel numbers here showed up again and again on a license plate, time clock, alarm clock, due to on a ticket of a restaurant check or everyday places situation. This could also be guardian angels or loved ones lost, giving you a message according to a Psych's New Daily. So they're saying this could be a guardian angel or a loved one that's lost, giving you a message. And some Christian blogs tie angel numbers to numerology and New Age teachings, something that's considered superstitious and not connected to the Bible. And they said, I was involved with the law of attraction for a while, and I was pulled into the positive thinking aspect of alleged faith-based aspect there. I read it use a comment on Christianity's Reddit, threaded with about 133,000 members. So it goes on and talk about this stuff, right? So I just want to clear this stuff up. We're going to do a whole show on this, me and Brian, on a Spiritual Warfare Friday, because I've been wanting to cover this stuff for a while, okay? This and the whole New Age that's going on, because New Age has massively infiltrated all our Christian churches, guys. And you got New Agers coming out of the woodwork now to say, oh, this is such a beautiful thing, and it's the basis of Christianity. And the first thing they'll throw up to you, right? First thing. They'll say, oh, numerology, how could you say this is evil, Dan? Numerology is in the Bible. God uses numbers for this, that, and the other. Yes, he does use numbers for this, that, and the other thing. Absolutely. But again, you need to understand, everything in the occultic world is a perverted or a mirror image of that of God. God makes something, Satan will say, we're going to do a mirror version of it or a perverted version of it. That's what New Age is. It's a perverted version of Christianity. They perceive to be Christians. They say they believe in Jesus Christ, but it's not the Jesus Christ of the Bible. Ascended masters and all these other things and angels. No, New Age has nothing to do with the Bible at all. I don't care what they tell you, what they think they know, they don't. I studied the New Age for a very long time. Yeah, it's nothing to do. It's a very destructive, massively destructive, and it's worse than Satanism, if you ask me, because it appears to be good. It fools its people to be of good things, but it's not. It's Satanism with a mask on. That's exactly what it is, man. And plain and simple, I'm going to call it for what it is. And the angels, let me give you a clue about angels, right? Number one, okay, when a person dies, right? They don't come back for unfinished business. That's Hollywood crap. They don't haunt places. They don't become demons. They don't become angels. None of that is biblical, all right? So if you confess to be a believer in Jesus Christ, a believer in God, a Christian, or whatever the case, that comes with knowing the Bible. Not just stupid, superstitious crap, or what your pastor says or some New Age clown says, all right? Or what your feelings. Because this whole thing, the numerology thing and all that, it's a feel-good thing. One of my cousin's wife, right, when her mother passed, right, she kept saying, oh, I'm seeing 1111 everywhere, and I smell my mom's perfume. I told her right out, like, you better rebuke that Plain and simple. That is not your mother. That's not no damn angels, okay? Excuse my language. It's not, damn angels are the bad ones. But yeah, there's no angels of God doing that. Oh, my aunt, she's into this stuff, and she said, no, I don't care what your aunt says. So they're lighting incense around the house, and of course, family problems, yeah. So they almost got divorced. So I'm going to not put their business out on the internet here. But yeah, about these people go out there, and they really believe, and you got these crackpots out there that say, I'm into this, spiritual stuff and all that. I'm a spiritualist and all that. And these numbers mean something. They're trying to contact you from the other side. And, they get all dramatic, you know what I mean? And emotional, and they start crying. It's just like, oh, man, you just got to roll your eyes behind your head. There's a bunch of morons. So they're sitting there all this, like, emotional stuff, and it's like, then we're gonna light incense and do all this other stuff. Right? Okay, let me break this down to you. Like I said, your dead relatives have no knowledge. They don't look down on you. They don't watch over you. They're not your guardian angels. Okay, they have no knowledge at all what's going on the earth. Plain and simple. That's what the Bible says. Doesn't matter what your pastor says. Doesn't matter what you believe. Okay, the feel good things. I'm giving you the stern reality. They don't do that. Plain and simple. Do God's angels interfere and also, help mankind? Absolutely. Absolutely. But one thing, they do not come to you giving you numbers. They're not going to give you little signs and numbers and codes and all that stuff. That's not how God's angels work. And I confront a lot of these New Agers on forums. It's like, well, the numerology is in the Bible. It's like, yeah, but show me one instance in the Bible. Show me one. One instance when an angel appeared to a man, even to this day, when people have biblical angel accounts, right, occurrences there. Show me one instance when one of God's angels played these hocus pocus games. Not one. Not one single God's angels came to somebody giving them numbers and stuff like that. No, that's not how they work. God's angels appear to you as who they are. They tell you who they are. They come in the name of the Most High. That's our Heavenly Father, right? And they give you the message. And they're up for challenge because, like, God says to challenge every spirit to make sure they are of God. You know what I mean? So if you got an angel in front of you, much as the angelic looks, right, and beautiful, you're supposed to challenge it to make sure it is of God. And they welcome that. A bad angel ain't got to do that. They're going to be very ticked off if you're doing that. And also, bad angels, they're the ones who, the principalities and these evil spirits, they'll give you the number codes. When you start seeing this and you smell a perfume or something in the air or something that reminds you of a certain person or try to give you a sign or something. Yeah, those are not good signs. That's deception. And I know I'm bursting a lot of people's bubbles out there, and yeah, I could care less, to tell you the truth. I'd rather tell you the truth than, blow smoke up your rear ends like these ministries do or these New Age gurus. You don't have no spirit masters or ascended masters, okay? You don't have guardian angels. That's not how this works here, all right? This is spiritual warfare 101, plain and simple. If you claim to be a Christian and you believe in that garbage, guys, you better turn to the Bible. Because this, okay, is the source of your knowledge. Through the divine Holy Spirit. Yeah, I mean, this really gets my gears, it really does. And people just... they go along with this crap. They really do. And the thing is, it's a feel-good thing. That's what it is. And I had some girls like, I'm a Christian. I've been a Christian for 20 years. And how could you say that's not that way? Don't bring negative energy upon us. And the other thing with these people, too, give me positive energy. Positive energy, everybody. Positive energy. Some pixie dust and all that. Or, we got to ward off the negative energy. It's like, what are you talking about? Enough with the garbage New Age crap. And there's nothing new about New Age, guys, by the way. Just that's what it's called. So it's a New Age away from God. That's what the whole purpose of it is. All right? The New Age, the man evolves into a God. That's what it is. That you ascend to a higher conscience. And then the whole thing with New Age, right? They believe that they call it a cosmic Christ. They don't actually believe in God, Jesus is in the flesh and, resurrected and all that stuff. They believe he's a cosmic Christ. And we're a part of that cosmic universe, right? And we flow through, these energies and all that stuff, and we become our own gods. No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't have no spiritual masters. There's only one you have. It's called Jesus Christ. The actual being Jesus Christ, not a consciousness. Yeah, that's the only spirit master you have. Our Lord and Savior. God in the flesh, plain and simple. That's the only one you have. And then it's just as bad as the Catholic Church, too, what they say with the intercessors. And they're not too far off with the New Age stuff, too. They have many intercessors, right? Jesus says he's the only intercessor. Try reading the Bible. He's the only intercessor between man and God. Plain and simple. Between man and God, Jesus Christ is the only intercessor. Not Mary, not angels, not your dead relatives, okay? Not these cosmic guides or spirits, whatever case. That's not how these things work. And these things, these spirits that come to you with these numbers and all that, and it's a real thing. You need to rebuke these things. Because nothing good is going to come out of that. I'm telling you right now. Much as you might feel good out of it, and they do. They work and charge your emotions. And when they do make some apparition appearance and stuff, then it gives us like a positive vibe, quote unquote, to these people, right? And they literally think this is the angel of God or something. No, it's not. These are principalities and fallen angels, guys, that do this stuff. Very dark, evil spirits that do this. So again, and I'm going to say it one more time, all right? And I'm going to do a whole show on this. Angels of God appear to you, okay? They tell you right away, instantly, I come in the name of the Most High. My name is Angel Gabriel, whatever the case, right? I come in the name of the Most High. I come in the name of our Father. You know what I mean? They'll announce where they're coming from, right? They'll give you the message. Directly, to you, like I'm doing to you. They don't give you codes where you got to say, oh my God, the alarm clock said 333 on it. And my ticket at the drive-thru said I'm number 333. Oh my God, it's a message. So they go on these forums and these websites to look what 333 means. And then they use a gematria of 333, the numerology of it. And they're like, oh my God, the angel's trying to tell me, I forgot what 333 meant, but I studied that stuff years ago. And I think 11:11 or something like that, new beginnings or something, whatever. But they'll say, oh, this is what it means, and the angel's trying to tell me that. No, it's not. You know what I mean? Plain and simple. If you want to know about angels, right, you pick this up. You don't go to some New Age moron. And half the pastors out there, you don't even go to them because they don't even know. The churches have been so dumbed down, it's ridiculous. The New Age have infiltrated the Christian churches today, guys. Most Christian churches have got New Age people that infiltrated it. And half the pastors are New Age, too. And Trump, he's got these big seminars going all over the country, right? His spiritual advisor, Paula White, she's a New Ager. Her and her husband are New Agers. The Moonies are New Age religion. The Pope, all of them, they're pushing the New Age concept. For one world religion. That's all of them believe. Now, we talked about Putin today, right? And calling out the left for their satanic crap. And he's right on that. Absolutely. But he's pushing his right version of Christianity, okay, which is New Age version. The left plain out come out and say, the left is pure Satanists, okay? Their ideology is pure Satanism. Like, half of them don't even know it. But that's what they come out as, right? The right come out as a so-called present themselves as Christian, right? But, they push that New Age agenda, which is worse, just as bad, as pure Satanists. Both lead to the same path. That's why the Bible says to walk the straight and narrow. And that goes a long way with politics, that goes with the occult, that goes with everything. Walk the straight and narrow path. And why do you think, not just the politics, why do you think all over the world, right, politics, no matter what different parties you call them, they have right-wingers and left-wingers, right? And the occult, they have right-handed, left-handed. Left path, right path. The occult, secret societies, politics, why do you think they have two different split ways? To blind you from the straight and narrow. They don't want you going that straight and narrow. Every aspect of life you go through, no matter what it is always a right path and a left path. Completely diverting you from going to that straight and narrow. So you put all that stuff together, guys, you can see what they're doing. The whole world's out to destroy this, plain and simple. They don't want you to know this for yourselves. That's why they'll stick you, oh yeah, it's okay, just keep these churches going. We give them tax exemption. And they tell the churches, listen, with the 501c3, you got to tone it down a little and just keep the basic knowledge going. And if they start rising up against the government or something, you need to quell them down. And that's what they're doing, guys. They don't teach the scripture for what it is. They teach a half-assed version of the Bible and then New Age garbage interjected with it. This is pure satanic, guys, and the Bible warns us about this stuff, man. Gary Wayne's book, I forgot what chapter it was, man. I got it right here. But Gary Wayne's book, Genesis 6 Conspiracy, he was talking about this too. And because it popped in my head. Where's the screenshot I took? Yeah, it's in here somewhere. I got so much stuff on my phone. But yeah, he was talking about the stuff, and it's it's right there in your face. It really is. There's people just blind to it. They really are. And these people go to church. Good people though. They go to church all the time and all that. And these pastors, these sick bastards out there, misleading people. And I can't say anything better than that. They're sick bastards. I'm going to call it for what it is. Chapter 49, the Genesis 6 Conspiracy, the mother of all sorceries. Yeah, that's talks about that. Talks about the so-called alien encounter that's coming. We mentioned that in Revelation 16. It's like you can't see that; it's all blurry, but whatever. But man, this is going on now, man. It really is, and people need to be aware of this. You know what I mean? And this is the angel number here. I did a video on this on TikTok last night. Angel number, and they said 1111 is right? They said, if you see 1111 everywhere, this is what it means in that gematria and all that. Your spiritual masters are guiding you, and you should not worry about things will unfold in your life. It symbolizes a new beginning in your self-development journey, thus renewing faith in your hidden potential. Did you read between the lines with that? Your self-developing journey, yeah. Your self-developing, you developing journey, right? Completely leaving out the fact that through Jesus you could do this, not yourself. That's what the New Age does. It elevates you. It elevates your ego and everything else to you could ascend to be a God. You could ascend to do this in spiritual enlightenment. And they're calling this the Great Awakening, the age of the Aquarius going on right now, because we're in the age of the Aquarius. They call this the Great Awakening. You know what I mean? There's nothing awakening about this, guys. And they use the terms of evolution. We're evolving into these new spiritual beings. Yeah, no, you're not. You're not evolving to drop crap. That's what you plain and simple. Man, these people are crazy, man. They really are. And they got a list of numbers. The gematria is like what all the numbers mean. But the Bible, the Bible uses again. Because they're gonna come after you. They say, well, the Bible uses numbers. We're just showing you the meaning. No, you're not showing us the meaning of nothing. Yes, the Bible uses numbers. Absolutely, it uses numbers. But they're of God. And he doesn't put everything off on numbers. You know what I mean? These dates and times and all that he sets is for a reason. For his purposes. So again, when you call, they'll take something of God, okay? Like Jesus lived 33 years, right? The Freemasons made the 33rd degree based off that, right? To try to connect it to. You know what I mean? They take things of God, numbers and symbols and all that, and they make their own version, like the rainbow, right? The rainbow, the covenant. They said, of course, the New Age say, oh, no. When you see a rainbow means the angels are trying to get a hold of you or something. No, that's not what it means. God made the rainbow for a reason, to remind you what he did before, why he flooded the earth, and then as a promise in this new covenant, he would never destroy the world by flood again, right? Why do you think the LGBT used the rainbow for? It's a direct, Harry Hay, the founder of the LGBT, they were into the occult, these people that founded this, right? They took the rainbow, right, and used it purposely. The reason why they use the rainbow for their logo because it's a direct mockery to our Creator. And why he flooded the earth, because that stuff happened back then too. All flesh was corrupt, right? They did that out of spite. What that is, it's literally you're spitting in the face of God and smacking him at the same time. That's what you're doing by just demonstrating that disgusting flag. You know what I mean? That's exactly what the stuff is. And everything's a perverted version, okay? Perverted and sick, twisted, demented mirror image of that of God. And no, people of God, they're not supposed to be using numerology or gematria. You know what I mean? Plain and simple. And, we use it in the cases to know our enemy, but we don't, turn our itch and ears to it. And I barely even use it anyway. You know what I mean? Just if they put out something and then you want to know what it means, what the message that they're trying to portray. So you could counteract that, you know what I mean? But as an educational basis, but not to use it as gospel. That's what I'm trying to say. Oh, man, we're going to do a whole show on this, man. So, I'm running late here. So, I got to get going, guys. So, we usually do some scripture, but I think we're going to save this for next week here. And, but the thing is, the world says we must respect all religions. You heard that. How many churches? I remember going to Christian churches. They said that, right? The Bible says no such thing. Bible says no such thing, that you got to respect other people's religions. Because here's the thing, this is not a religion. I don't belong to any religion. I don't belong to none of the 40,000 different denominations of Christianity. I'm not a Catholic, none of that stuff. I am a follower of Jesus Christ, the order of Melchizedek, plain and simple. And the Bible says you have no other gods before me. So tell me again how we're supposed to respect all religions. We don't. I don't respect not one single religion on this planet. Do not respect it. Because every single one of those religions are an enemy against our Creator. Even the so-called perceived Christian ones. They are an enemy against our Creator, plain and simple. When you follow God directly. Jesus Christ and His gospel and the Holy Spirit. You don't use religion, okay? Plain and simple. I have to emphasize that a million times. Keep away from religion, okay? Jesus says to follow Him, okay? He said to stay away from traditions of man. Traditions of man is religion. That's what they are. And then what they do is, wait a minute, they use the Bible, Dan. Well, yeah, of course, they all do. The Muslims use the Bible. Well, a lot of these religions use the Bible, but they cherry pick from it and misconstrue it to make them fit their agenda. Then later on, they start bashing the Bible, which is an oxymoron. They use the Bible to prove they're the religion, right? There's like the true religion. Then later on, they bash it. Or they have contradiction doctrines. It's insanity. It really is. But yeah, I'm going to get going, guys. And I was going to bring up some of these verses here too. But yeah, and as the days of Noah, so shall be before the coming of the Son of Man. And we're living in those days right now. Plain and simple. That's Matthew chapter 24. And so we'll get to these other verses when we next show here Wednesday. Because and you guys like the show, we got a PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App. And also, guys, we got this here. If you want to donate a couple of bucks here, it's a new donation page. It's to help our ministry and help our... And by the way, guys, thank you for taking part of the poll. This helps our ministry and our new show as well, guys. Pinned in the chat room if anybody wants to drop a couple of dollars. Whatever the case. And thank you guys for joining us. And so coming up tomorrow night, guys, 9 p.m. Eastern, the re-premiere of the new Babylon Resurrection Nimrod. We had to take the show, well, YouTube took it down right away. And so we're going to re-premiere it because a lot of people didn't get to see it yet. So anyway, yeah, go check us out. And also go to NCIS TV and get a free subscription there with Dan the Man's a promo code. And the poll here I put up, do you believe Hurricane Ian is a natural or weather weapons being used against Florida? So 59% people said weather weapons, 9% natural, and 32% not sure. So thank you all for taking part of the poll, and 87 people voted in the poll. Yeah, thank you guys for everything. And yeah, thank you, Uncle Obvious and Valerie, and who else is here? Yeah, thank you guys for moderating, and everybody else watching. Thank you so much. And all, thank you, Annie, by the way. Annie, she's the owner of ShakeAwakeRadio.com. So, thank you guys. And also, please pray for please pray for the people in Florida. Very much needed. And Cuba as well. Everybody in the path of the hurricane. South Carolina and all that, Georgia. So, other than that, guys, God bless. Shalom. We'll see you Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. We got my friend Timothy McGaffin coming on. He's coming on a show. And what I do again, YouTube on 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock we go to Rumble. So because we're going to talk about stuff YouTube don't like, So anyway, God bless. Shalom. You are the resistance. Declaring war on the New World Order. TruthRadioShow.com.
It is fire. Change on.
Defending liberty in the spirit of 1776. It's Dan Bidondi on TruthRadioShow.com.